Hey guys, I'm Greg with Shacknews, and E3 is a wrap, but I wanted to touch up on this great game I just played at the very end of the show, and I'm mad I didn't play it sooner, called A Plague's Tale. I'm here with David, the creative director from Focus Home Entertainment. It's been a show. So, David, tell us about A Plague's Tale.
A Plague's Tale is an action-adventure game which takes place during the Middle Age in France. Where everything was basically ravaged by wars or Inquisition, and in whole game, huge swarms of rats. And we've got two main protagonists in this game, Amicia and Hugo, which are sisters and brothers. And you will play with Amicia. She's 14, and Hugo is 5. And in this journey, because at the beginning they will basically lose everything, and they will switch from normal kids of this time to actually realize that they have a much bigger role to play in this universe.
It's like a very dark coming-of-age story, essentially, right? So if you guys out there didn't have a chance to play it, and I'm telling you, the game has a tremendous atmosphere. The atmosphere alone tells the story of this game, because it's like almost mid-century France, and the plagues everywhere, and I saw literally thousands of rat models on screen. Talk a little about that.
Yes, I would say one star of the game are the rats. Obviously, swarms of rats. So we have spent a lot of time to make them feel right, and quite easily you can have lots of them, but to make them both impressive and at the same time interesting to play, and give to the player the right feedback at the right moment, and feel like they're still individual rats, whatever the situation, was the tricky aspect. So yeah, we spent a lot of time on this.
So and the best way to describe it, because I know how much creative directors like their games being compared to other games, but it feels a lot like The Last of Us on PlayStation. It's very story driven, very narrative, but the gameplay is still there and it's solid. A lot of stealth gameplay, a lot of fight smarter, not harder, because she's only 14. So talk a little about the combat in the game.
Yeah, basically she's weak, and she's young, and she's not used to be confronted to such threat. So basically the idea is that as it's a sort of survival theme, you need the character to feel weak, and the swarms of rats and the Inquisition are much stronger. So most of the time, especially at the beginning of the game, she will not be able to pick up a sword and to attack the guards, for example, or even less the rats. So she will have to basically use most of the time the rats against the Inquisition, and the Inquisition against the rats, because in her game the light repel the rats. So you can, let's say, trap the Inquisition by destroying their light, or at the opposite, use yourself a light in order to repulse the rats. But in this case, Inquisition will show you. So player will always have to manage this.
Now, aside from the atmosphere, this entire game is taking place through the eyes of a child. Now, if you guys don't understand what that means, it's like when you were a kid, things are over-exaggerated. Oh, this fish was this big, those stories. And it shows in this game tremendously. I mean, you're seeing rats' nest, and rats are usually like little piles of straw, whatever, but in this game, they're disgusting, black, tar-like things that the rats are pouring out of, because you're psychologically, that's how the kids are seeing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool you mentioned this, because it's really the path we would like to take is like not go too much or necessarily on the gory aspect. It's not a jump scare game, It's really much more about the psychological violence, maybe, but we really try to keep it like a nightmare. That's the reason why it's called Plague Tale.
Yeah, a nightmare is actually a really good way to put it. From what I saw in the presentation, everything just looked really. My skin crawled when I heard those rats move around. Like you don't think you'd be afraid of rats, right? I mean, they're rats, whatever, but these actually make your skin crawl just because the game is a nightmare for these kids.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's lots of the relationship also, and the tenderness that they will have between the two sisters and brothers emphasizes something very special, the special bond they have, and we play a lot with the friction that will exist between this tiny bubble around them and the rest of the world, which is brutal and crude, and the rats, obviously. Yeah.
So the brother and sister, I saw you playing the sister. Is the brother, could you control the brother at some point, or is the brother just an AI companion that helps you on your journey?
I will not spoil too much, but no, it's really about Amicia. You will be Amicia. And it's much more about the relationship we will have with another actual character that we try to make as real as possible and as authentic as possible, than switching from a character to another. It's not the gameplay we want to expose there.
So what's the exact year of the Black Plague? Refresh my memory.
It's in, wow, it will be hard for me. It's in 1350, basically.
All right. So we don't, and that's rare too, because we really don't see a game take place in the 13th century that often. And if we do, it's usually high fantasy. And this is not high fantasy, guys. This is grounded, realistic, psychological thriller.
Yes, obviously it's not we don't want to make an historical game. You will not learn a lot about history.
You will not learn about the Black Plague.
Yeah, that said, the actual fact that happened during this period of time is a huge source of inspiration, and we really try to take this as a reference in order to build her world, to give it this sort of grounded feeling, which really contrasts with with the relationship and the tenderness between the two characters, because Middle Age was sometimes not as dark as we believe, but sometimes it was really crude and really violent, and if you put rats on top of this, it's even worse.
I'm calling it right now. It's The Last of Us of the 2018s. David, thank you so much. When does A Plague's Tale: Innocence come out, and what platforms will it be on?
So it will be on PC and consoles, and it will be out probably at the end of 2018.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for our post show coming up next.